Mr. Chairman, I'm pleased to be here today and to be an original co-sponsor of H.R. 3696, the National Cybersecurity and Critical Infrastructure Protection Act. Today's markup represents a milestone for the committee and this Congress. After years of congressional deadlock over cybersecurity, we've come together to provide the Department of Homeland Security with the authority and resources it needs to carry out its dual role as the lead federal agency for protecting federal civilian networks and the lead for partnering with our nation's critical infrastructure for cybersecurity. When it comes to protecting critical infrastructure, the bill takes a multifaceted approach. Not only does it authorize information sharing mechanisms that are essential to ensuring that owners and operators can identify, contain, and mitigate wide-scale threats, it also authorizes the National Cybersecurity and Communications Integration Center and the so-called cyber flyway teams that provide on-site technical assistance. We've all heard the stories about massive cybercrime, internet fraud, and database thefts. In recent years, cybercrime has become so prevalent that companies have begun to factor into their financial planning as a cost of doing business. Sharing cyber information will not create a threat-free environment, but we must encourage business and government to work together to do more. That information sharing provisions in this bill do just that. Another strength of the bill is that it builds upon President Obama's cybersecurity executive order, which to date represented the most significant advancement in efforts to bolster the level of cybersecurity within critical infrastructure. Executive Order 13636 set in motion the development of the cyber framework by the National Institute of Standards and Technology that is expected to be released later this month. The publication of the framework has the potential to fundamentally alter how business decisions about network security get made. When it comes to protecting federal civilian networks, the bill, for the first time, would place in law DHS's role, responsibility, and authority. And I might add, Mr. Chairman, that is absolutely important for DHS to have that role. Since the Bush administration, the Department has been delegated responsibility for managing federal efforts to secure, protect, and ensure the resiliency of federal civilian network. Today, DHS runs the government's continuous diagnostic program, Einstein, which is charged with overseeing compliance of all federal network security policies and procedures. However, if you look at the U.S. Code, you would not know it. H.R. 3696 would remedy that situation and, in process, strengthen the Department's hand when dealing with other federal agencies. To execute its dual cyber mission, the Department must have a capable and stable workforce. The challenges of identifying, hiring, training, and retaining this workforce are complex. It's not simply a matter of money. To her credit, the ranking member of the Cybersecurity Subcommittee, Ms. Clark, recognized this reality and authored comprehensive legislation that tackles these challenges. I'm pleased that her bill, the Homeland Security Cybersecurity Boots on the Ground Act, was accepted by her Cyber Subcommittee colleagues, most especially Chairman Meehan, and is part of the legislation we're considering today. It will help assure that DHS has the staffing resources necessary to undertake the full range of responsibilities under this Act. Mr. Chairman, I'd be remiss if I did not express my appreciation for your willingness to set aside language that Ranking Member Clark, myself, members of the committee, and the privacy and civil liberties community caution would produce unintended consequences. We're here today with a comprehensive, bipartisan bill because of our shared desire to legislate responsibly. When I learned that the ACLU, in its letter to the committee, called the bill, as the chairman has already referenced, both pro-security and pro-privacy, I took it as a positive signal. I do not want to get ahead of myself and take a victory lap just yet. There are a few critical steps along the way to H.R. 3696 becoming law, but today's markup, it will be one major step closer. Before I yield back, I'd note today Democrats plan to offer a number of amendments that seek to make further improvements to the bill. I've reviewed the pre-filed amendments by the Democratic members and would like to express, for the record, my support for them. In particular, there are a couple of anticipated amendments that seek to bolster transparency, which warrant consideration. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.